We're entering into much more than a spiritual battle, my friends. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We're going to get into actually a ton of stuff in this video as usual. We have, of course, Bill Maher and his recent episode. We're going to get into what he had to say about what just happened in Europe. We'll get into that. We have this ridiculously crazy riot that happened in Seattle at a ministry event, at a church event. No joke. We'll get into that. And it's been a big story, actually. A lot of people have been talking about it. We have a number of other stories to get into. Could we be seeing something rather strange coming up here in the summer? Well, we're already in the summer, aren't we? We're going to see some rather curious stuff. We have here Candace Owens talking a little bit about something rather important we'll get into, and a number of other big things that are now developing. Let's just get into this. Let's start here with this Bill Maher clip. This is kind of interesting. Has to do with the UK ruling on what is a woman. Check this out.
J.K. Rowling won. Everyone who said this for years has won. All the particularly women who've been defamed and lied about and bullied and chased and much more for years, they were right. And I just think, apart from being a statement of the obvious, isn't it amazing that the best legal minds in Britain spent years having to work out the first thing we knew as a species?
And that's kind of funny, man, because look at our society. It's so backwards at this point, and things just make no sense. We have here, of course, Jordan Peterson recently going on the Jubilee show as a Christian first, I can't remember, it was 20 atheists, whatever it was. And of course, they had to change the title because he refused to say that he was a Christian, ironically. And then we have Joe Rogan, on the other hand, who used to make fun of the faith, now presenting himself as one going to church and things of that nature. It's just like the world has completely changed in a short period of time. Now we have this Seattle worship service that was out in a park in Seattle that went crazy. Check this out.
Well, I can let you know this. In the last 72 hours, it has been the wildest 3 days of my entire life in ministry and outside of ministry. What actually happened is, and like you said, this has reached the White House. It's reached the UK Daily Mail. I mean, it's reaching not just local and national, but international news. And so as the church, as a fellow believer, we always want honesty and the truth to prevail. And so we showed up at Cal Anderson Park, and as we were there, we actually received reports the night before that there would be some protesters. Now, for us as Christians, as believers, and just as Americans, we want every single person to have the ability to express and to take advantage of their constitutional rights, right? The freedom of speech, the freedom of religion. So we're welcoming protesters. We want any...
It didn't go exactly as they planned. Let's just put it that way. Let me show you this on the screen. They ended up having a bunch of protesters that pretty much stormed it. As you can see here on this picture, one guy apparently ran up on the stage and tried to attack this dude. And so this was just a worship service, right? But apparently there's a number of protest groups there that didn't like what they were doing. And this apparently has become big news because it's just like, our society's become more and more like this, where it's so separated and people taking sides against each other. And then you got this weird one that happened, this weird service that happened in Germany, where they were using chickens, dead chickens, with, what is that, a diaper on it? I don't know what that is. It is so bizarre looking. They're using this in a church service. Let me play this real quick. What in the world? What in the world is going on here, man? People acting crazy, using apparently dead chickens for an act, as you could see there in church. Very bizarre. people rushing the stage, trying to attack ministers, causing chaos. I feel like there's a spirit going on. You can tell things are changing as we go into the summer. Things are starting to become, the spiritual is becoming more obvious. It's out more in the open. It's no longer hiding itself. You're not in this secular utopia anymore. You're seeing things happen that don't make sense. Of course, now apparently the left is trying to recapture men to be on their side. The left needs men apparently now, after demoralizing them, after pushing them down, not caring about them. The white, of course, male apparently is more important than they realized because they actually vote. Things like that, you know. And apparently you have David Hogg and this lady, David Hogg, and then this lady that are going to be doing this. They're going to be trying to bring men back to the Democrat Party. I don't know how well that's going to work out. By the way, at the exact same time, David Hogg finds himself in trouble. He is under, he's basically being videotaped, you know, undercover, doesn't realize it, and admits that our previous president was actually not the one running the show. Apparently, it was this guy, according to David Hogg there, the vice chair of the DNC. And now we have, of course, another thing here from our president where he talks about the auto pen. Check this out.
When you go further out, when you see the auto pen, I mean, I think the auto pen is going to become one of the great scandals of all time because you have somebody operating it or a number of people operating. Because I knew Joe Biden. Joe Biden wasn't in favor of opening up borders, letting 21 million people into this from prisons and mental institutions and gang members. He wasn't into that at all. And, you know, who signed these orders, proclamations, and all of the different things that he signed that set our country so far back? That was.
Could it be this guy back here? Right here? Could it be this guy that was actually behind a lot of the signatures? That's the question people need to be asking themselves. Now, apparently, David Hogg himself knows the DNC might oust him, but he's fine with that. I guess he doesn't have a problem with what's come out. If I do get removed, it only proves my point, which is exactly true. Because according to him, it was the DNC that was running it. So if the DNC kicks him out, it proves he was right. That they were the ones behind the pen, behind the signing of things. I showed an interview a couple months ago from someone on the right. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking on an interview and mentioned how he had at one time been speaking with Joe, apparently in private, and said, "Hey, why did you sign this?" And he's like, "I didn't sign that." Like, he didn't even know it was being signed. Like, literally had no clue all this stuff was being signed. Like, he's not all there, and they're just lying to him. And apparently before they were able to sit down in private, there was a bunch of other people in the room making sure he didn't say the wrong thing, right? So I'm guessing probably this guy here was in the room. Just a wild guess. I don't know. But like I said, we're going to get into actually a ton of stuff. We're going to get into this right now a little bit with regards to Candace. I'm going to play this clip in a minute because I didn't even play it in my previous video about a cyber, hacking, cyber attack of some sort where maybe we won't have, of course, power. Maybe some other stuff will happen, and we're already starting to see it. I'm going to get into that in this video. I'm going to also get into some weird stuff going on with the plate tectonics. We have two different locations in America where you have some strange stuff going on with regards to that as well. I'll get into that also. First, I got to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 3 months worth for $4.97. You're going to definitely want to get this if you have not already. It includes lots of different options. And this is the lowest price they've ever had in the last 5 years. Link is in the description for that. This book here, The Lost Ways, how your great-great-grandfather lived without electricity, how to build a cellar, do things around the house like they did in the old days, hundreds of pages illustrated. You're going to definitely want that before the power goes out. You're going to be able to buy it at Walmart. Link is in the description. Get it, I think it's $37. Get the printed version. And, of course, my website, GR Videos. Also, X, we're trying to redo it or start anew and try to do a different method of using X to get some good information out that you won't see over here. So you're going to definitely want to go check out my Twitter or X account, link below. Let's get back to the video. So we have here Candace talking about the World, Economic, of course, Forum, predicting some sort of cyber thing happening. Remember, the last few times that they predicted something, it came true, usually within a few months. The reason I'm even paying attention to this and their exercise is because they're notoriously, this doesn't even make sense, they're notoriously correct. In 2019, ran an exercise, obviously for what we saw back then, the whole thing. The exercise she's referring to is, 201. I covered this, right? I covered this. Actually, I covered it when it was right before it happened. I said, look, they predicted this. I bet you it's going to happen. And then we saw it happen, right? Yeah, we covered it way back when. So let's just play this clip here and see what she has to say a little bit.
If they brought the power grid down. And by they, I mean if the government purposefully brought the power.
I've been saying this. I didn't even see any posts from that forum. I've been saying this for a while. I've been talking about the fact that we had something happen 2 years ago in Washington State. And I said it looked like a test. Then we had what happened in Europe recently. I said that looks like a bigger test. What's next? Maybe it's here, the big one. Is that the next one? I've been saying that recently for weeks and weeks. So perhaps I am correct. Now we have the forum coming out and saying this. Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. Well, he's gone now. That guy stepped down. Santa Claus stepped down. But you know what I'm saying. They got some new dude now. At any rate. So
power grid down. And I'm not asking that question for fun. I'm asking that question because the World Economic Forum.
Your friends, of course. They care about you and the economy. They're your friends. Yeah, so they said that. Yeah, of course, also at the exact same time, we got the Didmeister in that trial. We got multiple high-profile celebrities are reportedly luring up, worried they might be called to testify. And I thought this comment underneath this post was pretty telling or interesting. You got all these Hollywood celebrities on a plane and our president saying, buckle up, blank holes. What was kind of interesting about our president recently, he decided that we're going to reopen up Alcatraz. We're going to apparently take over Rikers Island, and also we're going to expand that one Guantanamo place. I wonder why he's doing that. Could he have some, secure hotel rooms, I guess, for these guys there? Hotel rooms. They got bars on them, I guess they're not hotel rooms. Not what they're probably used to. Not the lavish life anymore. But, of course, we have here Joe Rogan kind of explaining how our president is the final boss. Check this out.
It's also like, they're like, oh, he's a crazy person. I'm like, yeah, that's the only kind of person that would survive what you try to do to him.
Right.
That's the only kind of guy that gets through. Like, you want a perfect person? A perfect person morally falls apart by the time they've been indicted and they've 34 counts, felony. Crazy person to get through. He's a nightmare for anybody that's trying to rig a system. Like, that guy's the nightmare. He's the final boss of.
Of course, that's what he is, my friends. He is the final boss that they can't handle. And I'm really hoping he does not get tempted in any way. I kind of feel like some people underneath their president are starting to waver, starting to buckle at the knees. I hope they do not do it because it's going to make them look really bad in the end. Of course, here we have, I just typed in cyber, hacking or whatever. And I got something rather interesting coming up here. Adidas and also Victoria's Secret both apparently hacked in the last couple days. That's kind of weird. This was a day ago. This was 3 days ago. We had, like, what was it, 5 days ago, a massive one. I think it was all the internet and phones and internet were down in France. What was that? Was that like, maybe that was a week ago now. And then there was also in a number of other places in Germany, like entire computer systems down. Again, 4 weeks ago we had, the power outages in Europe everywhere. And then recently we're starting to have them here a lot. I've talked about that. There's a number of them here. And now, of course, then we have this whole world war thing that's being talked about. You got Newsweek here. And of course, the former president over there, before the Vladmeister, is saying that be careful to our president. They're showing some ad. I can't even show his face. Maybe he's down here somewhere. Yeah, here we are. This guy. If you remember this guy, what's this guy's name? I don't even know what his name is. Medvedev. That's how you say his name, apparently. This guy warning our president. This guy's the predecessor to the Vladmeister or Putin, and saying he was warning us. I'm curious what's going on with all that, because a lot of people are not aware. The Vladmeister was in I think it was a helicopter, and it was almost taken, of course, out. And that was like only a few days ago. A lot of people don't even know about that. And I was thinking maybe he thought we did that to him. And maybe that's why he's had this change of heart recently and started going kind of hard the other direction, like he doesn't want to solve this whole Ukraine thing. Could it be because someone almost got him and then he somehow thought it was us? Or perhaps it's someone who made themselves look like us to do that, to cause this to go forward, to become something much larger, which obviously makes the most sense, because who has the most to lose? It's not the Vladmeister. It's not our president. It's the elite, of course, at the top that are losing their money. They're losing, of course, their power. The Forum, we just talked about them a minute ago. Why would they want hacking? Cyber hacking. Why would they want that? I wonder. Because they're losing their power. They have none now. Our president took it from them. Then they would want to somehow trick the Vladmeister to think we did something to him. We also have what's going on with Iran. They want to get that thing going. So our president's trying to negotiate a peace treaty. But of course, there's others that don't want that, do they? They don't want that. So this is all the stuff going on. And it's interesting because we have prophets left and right talking about all this stuff. You have Kim Clement from back in 2014 saying this summer is the big summer when a lot of stuff's happening. Strange July, hypnotic November. In the fall, many will fall. Now you might know why we have all those Alcatraz and Rikers Island prisons coming back. Maybe there's going to be a bunch of people, of course, gone soon here. Just so we can avert some sort of major thing happening and we can have more peace on earth. I mean it in a legit. I'm not being sarcastic. Although I tend to be a sarcastic person. We also have a lot of other strange things going on. We have Canadian wildfires going on. Aerial footage shows massive smoke plumes from Canadian wildfires. This just happened 5 hours ago. So you got this going on. 17,000 people were told to flee in Manitoba. So you got that going on right now. You got something strange happening beneath the Mississippi River. Of course, the Mississippi River is very, very big.
Stretching over 2,300 miles from Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico, it has carried sediment, stories, and commerce for centuries. But beneath its tranquil surface lies a foundation.
That's interesting. Look at this foundation. Obviously not entirely stable with the fault line there. They're finding out there's some strange activity at the New Madrid seismic zone east of the Rocky Mountains, Mississippi Valley. So you got that story, which is kind of curious. Over the last couple months, they've been monitoring that. You have also Mid-May this month, we had California rocked by multiple earthquakes along fault line poised for the big one. That's a different fault line near California. And we talked about the volcano that is a mile wide underneath the water off the west coast. And, of course, how that line on the plates, the fault, lines up with the San Andreas fault as well. Could that cause something major to happen this summer? They're talking about that a lot. They said the volcano is 95% ready to blow. They're expecting it to happen next month, which is a day from now, pretty much. I mean, anytime next month they're expecting it to happen. If it happens, could it cause the big one in California? Could it cause some massive thing to happen? It's a mile wide. It's not a small volcano. It's not a super volcano, but you might as well say it's one because it's pretty much. Here's another one that happened back, what was this, 2023, I think? You could see it from space. Okay? This, of course, is not as deep. But the fact is, the one we're talking about that's supposed to erupt next month is on a fault line. It's between two plates. I think that's kind of important, kind of weird. We have a lot of prophets talking about this. I'm not even sure if they knew about these stories or not. It was weird because I put my video out first about this volcano, and then shortly after that, I don't know, like a few days after that, I saw a number of apparently prophets talking about this, saying there's going to be some sort of volcanic eruption. Actually, he said it 4 months ago. I'm sorry. This was before me. This was way before me. This is 4 months ago. That's interesting. Kim Clement, obviously way before the thing happened. Kim Clement's been dead for years. He predicted that. That's the guy that also predicted something's going to happen this summer. So you got a number of things. So technically I'm wrong. They actually predicted before I even said anything. So sorry about that. But then you have, of course, Kim Clement, a number of prophecies. And he even predicted the Revelation 12, of course, sign before it happened because he died before 2017. He predicted it back in 2009. He predicted a lot of things in his time that are now coming to pass. And I believe this summer is integral to our future. We're going to see a lot of interesting stuff happening in the next few months that's going to completely change, of course, our world. Then we got this story, The Last of Us TV show. I'm sure some of you have watched that before. The Last of Us viewership drops almost by, I think it was like 30-40%. And it proves why modern TV is broken. Obviously, it was a really bad sort of plot twist where they got rid of the main character and then all that's left is this girl. They got rid of the main. I can't remember what the guy's name is. I only watched a couple. I think his name's Joel. Yeah, his name is Joel. I only watched like a couple episodes of it, but they got rid of him and then just kept her. And of course, then they tried to do their whole woke thing, which doesn't seem to ever work, does it? Not really. So their TV show, they pretty much destroyed it. And I guess they asked for it because, I mean, they've had every single thing around them telling them that's not a good idea, but they did it anyways. EA cancels Black Panther game, closes Cliffhanger game studio, close an entire studio, cancel an entire game because of something that happened. One of the lead, the dev team lead, basically came out and said that she only hired people that were, of course, black because she wanted it to be homogenous or something and a safe area or whatever she was saying, something like that. Didn't work out too well. That video went viral in the wrong way, ended up getting the entire game canceled and the entire studio closed. Not very smart, but at any rate, we're making our own video game. I've mentioned this before. Noah VR. It's also going to be called Apocryphon Genesis. We have 150 shares available for those who wanted to get involved and invest in the game to where they could actually get a return. 33% of the Noah VR profits will be set aside for all the shareholders that want a seat Those that have already gotten involved actually are going to make more than they did before. We added 13% more to it. You can also get another seat if you want, or get your first one. There's actually probably less than 150 at this point, but we haven't updated it because some people have gotten involved. $400, and actually technically we've already had 550 people, but now we're adding another 150. So I don't know how many has been sold. I haven't talked to my friend in a while, the guy that's the CEO of JIL Games, but at any rate, there's quite a few left still. It's the $400 to get involved. If you're interested, we're almost done with the game. We're going to have to do, obviously, beta testing and marketing, all that kind of stuff. But if you're interested, link is in the description. Kind of wonder what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.